It's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. So today we're going to be doing another fun fold card. This one is a diamond fold card. I saw it on Splitcoast Stampers video, and one of my viewers said that she wanted to make it and wanted to know if I'd ever made it, and I hadn't. So I went on that site, and then I went over to Linda Bauwin, and she did it a little bit differently. So I kind of combined the two, and I hope you'll like it, and you'll stay tuned and watch. So before I show you how to make a card, I thought I'd show you a couple of them that I've already made. I really like the idea of using this chicken stamp set, so I used it on two of them. It's an old Stampin' Up! Set called Hey Chick, and of course all my little chicks are jumping out of their housing. Anyway, I really like this set, and I used the sentiment Hey Chick from that, and then I used a stamp from Amuse Studios for Peeps' sake that says to one of my favorite Peeps, and I put that on the angle. I used the chicken from the first Hey Chick set, and I used this chicken from that one, and then I used the stamp for this one from an old wooden stamp I have that has a chicken on it that it's right in front of me. Do you see it? Do you see it? Anywhere? 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 Nope, I don't see it either. Oh, there it is. Okay. I use this. It says just checking in on you. Just chicken in on you, sorry. And this is from Image Tree. It's very, very old. It was an EK success, and it's IT04C, just chicken. So that's that one. And then all I did was I stamped that right there with just this part, and then I used the chicken from the other set. Then on this one I used some of my perfect layering circles from Peg Stamps. That's those. Oh, check out my nail polish. Right before I started doing this, I painted my nails. I cut them and I painted them, and look how bad they are. I'm going to have to redo them completely because obviously I didn't wait long enough. Anyway, back to the cards. So these cards open like this. They're a fun fold card, and then they close, and then, oh, hold on. Closing is always tricky because you got to kind of make the back go where it needs to go, like that. And then I put some pieces of white on the back just so I have a place to write, because I didn't think I wanted to write anywhere, you know, like in the flaps or whatever. So I thought I'd write on the back. And then on this one, I cut out the diamond, and then I took a punch that's just a scallop punch, and I made these punches that went around the edge. So I am going to do something a little bit frisky like that on this card, but I just kind of wanted to show you how I made these two, and then of course I lined the back with white paper. We're going to start with a piece of 5-inch tall by 12-inch wide paper, and I saw this on Splitcoast Stampers. One of my friends, Jane, said, "Have you ever made this card?" And I said, "No, but I was working on another fun fold card that had a similar diamond thing going on in it, and I was really struggling with it. So I decided I would try this one and see if it worked out better for me." And there are some tricks, and I'll show you those as we go. You're going to score at 2 and 4 and 8 and 10. You got all those? 2, 4, 8, and 10. And you're done on your scoreboard. Keep your score tool out, and you're going to need a ruler and a pencil now. You're going to take your ruler, and if you've ever played with this Tim Holtz ruler, here's another reason I really like it. It has a centering component, which means if you have a 12-inch piece of paper, in the middle is the 0 right there. Hopefully you can see that. So you want to make sure your paper is perfectly centered on that, because if it's not, you're going to have trouble. I want to make sure my lines are right. They are. Okay. You're going to make a line at either, in my case I'm making it 0, but in your case you're making it 6 inches. Then you're going to move it to the bottom. Same thing. You want to have your score mark at 6 inches or 0, whichever your ruler has. So in my case, if I moved it down here, I could put it at 6 inches right there and just make that little mark. That mark is going to be important for our next stage, which is scoring. You're going to need your ruler again. Oh, let's do our fold. I'm just going to work on this first fold. This is the one we really care about, the one that's at 2 inches and 10 inches. You're going to need to be able to see that fold. That's why we're playing with it. Okay. You're going to put something underneath this, like a pad of paper or fun foam, something that gives it a little cushion. I have that built into where I work, so that's not a problem. And hopefully you can see this. You have that little mark up there at 6 inches. You're going to take your ruler and you're going to make a score from that mark down to your first score line at the bottom, like that. Hopefully you saw that. Then you're going to do the same thing on this side, from that top score down to our score line. Other people do this much faster than me. I mess up my ruler and move it a little bit, which is not conducive to a good score. And then you're going to turn it around and you're going to score again, same way, from the top center down to that first score line. If that score isn't really good, from that point to this point, you are going to run into a little bit of trouble. Just helping you out there. Same on this side, from the center down to the bottom corner, no, down to the 2-inch mark. Lied about that. So you should have what looks like triangles, okay? And then you're going to do your folding on your scores, front and back, forward and backward. I mean, forward and backwards, not front and back, forward and backwards. And then do that with your other score line that's in the center of this. Now, when I watched the video, they didn't do this score line in the center, but I saw Linda Bauwin do the same card, and she did do the score line in the middle, and I think that's much smarter because it makes it a lot easier when you're trying to make your ultimate folds. My paper is double-sided. You don't need double-sided paper, but if you do, then you'll have to line it like I am. Now, I want my yellow side to show. So what you're going to do is you're going to, this flap doesn't really matter right now. What you want to do is you want to pinch in these two pieces. Then you want to make sure that you get a good point on this. And if your scores aren't perfect, you might not get a perfect point. And I sometimes struggle with getting a good point. So then you're going to get your bone folder, or the back of a butter knife, or your ruler. If you have a wooden ruler, wooden rulers work really good for this. You just want to make sure that you can get a really good point there. Same thing on the inside. That's what I'm doing right there. Okay, then you're going to flip this back so that you've got, that made the card right there. See that on that side? And then on this side, same thing. You're going to pinch these two in like that. And then we'll bone folder it. We'll burnish it. I personally prefer bone folder, don't you? Let's bone folder it. You see these pieces in the back? For some reason, I've always thought that that was a problem, but I really don't think it is. You just have to kind of tuck them. Hold on, I'm just going to tuck mine in so you can see how I do it. I don't believe anybody can make this card without having that happen, and if you can, tell me how you did it, because that, I think, is a secret. Because look at the back of my card. The back of my card, once it's in place, is perfect. This is the back. Don't forget, this is not the front. This is the back. And that is the front. Perfect. It's just the way I wanted it. So, next we're going to get our eraser. I have that little mark right there that I don't really want. I don't think you can see the other one as well. That one you can really see. So I'm just going to... You probably couldn't really see it, but I could. Okay, next we're going to do some stamping and decorating. Let me show you how I made the piece that goes in the center. I'm just trying to see if this piece is big enough. Actually, I think this piece is big enough. The way I did mine is probably not like other people would do theirs, but here's how I did it. I put my paper over it, and then I turned the whole thing over, and then I pulled my back flap toward me, like that. and then I trace this like that. Then I turned this piece over. Oh, clearly I need to go all the way to the edge. And I'm going to do the same. I'm just making the lines. Then I'm going to cut this out. Here's the other thing that's kind of tricky about this. You have to make it a little bit smaller, so you just have to do a few more cuts. I'm just lining this up and cutting this out. I'm not going to cut out that other piece right now because I want to see how big it is in relationship to my triangle. It needs to be just a little bit smaller. I'm going to make this side just a little smaller. You just got to make sure you keep it lined up in your paper trimmer. On this card, I decided I wanted to make a little scene, so I'm going to make a little chair setting. I have a stamp set from Close to My Heart called Chairished. Chairished, and it has all these cute chairs in it. This is the chair and this is the lamp I'm using. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to stamp the chair. I'm trying to set up my images so they look good together, and then I thought I'd put a little dog in it if I could get the dog. See if I can move this down a little bit. Put the dog maybe right there. So let me stamp the sentiment first. This is the easiest way for me to do it. I'm going to use some Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink, and I'm just going to stamp the You Are Cherished. If you ever have that happen where you have a long image like this and you can't get it straight, you can do a couple things to make sure that your image is straight. One of them is you can put a ruler up next to it. It's better if you have a T-ruler, but this is how I do it. I put it down and then I push against the ruler. This is a better side of the ruler for me to use, to make sure that everything on my image is pushed up against it, if that makes sense. The other way you can do it is obviously you can put it in your MISTI. Clearly that would be the best way to do it, the easiest way. Much darker. You Are Cherished. Okay. Then I think my next thing I'm going to put down is my rug. And I thought my rug, I'm going to use some of these Tamnit colored markers. I like them for coloring on things like this. I haven't yet done my putting a strip around them so I know what color they are, because I like doing that. It helps me to really ensure that I have that I know what color I'm playing with. I don't know if that made sense or not, but sometimes I don't know what color the marker is, because the marker is it looks like one color. Like this looks to me like it's going to be like a light orangish brown. No, it's straight out orange. And I'm just going to rub it over my image. This is my rug. And I'm going to put it as low as I can toward the bottom here. Again, my head's probably going to be in the way, and I apologize. And if you want to color your rug, or if you want to, I might just, I have a paintbrush, and you take your acrylic block and you scribble some of that marker on your acrylic block, and you take your brush and you wet it on there, and then I'm just going to kind of dab into my center just to move the color a little bit so I have more of an orange rug. Then I'm going to put a chair on it, and I'm going to do the chair in black. Okay, I decided I was going to do some masks and stamp a background that's going to be from this Little Darling Rubber Stamps Creative Wildflower. It's a background stamp. I got this through Home Shopping Club. They had like a set of 4 of them on sale, and I liked it. I really like how it looks like wallpaper to me. So I already made masks, well, I'll call them masks, of the chair, because I'm going to put the chair, I stamped it on the same paper as my card, same with the light shade. And so what I'm going to do, normally I would stamp this background stamp laying face up and lay this over on it, but I'm too lazy to make masks, so I'm just going to lay my chair backwards on there like that. I'm going to put my little lampshade upside down. Okay, then I'm going to ink up my background stamp with Sweet Corn by Gina K, and I'm going to do the whole background because I don't know where it's going to land, which means I need to put a scrap paper under this, hold it by the edges, and I'm going to lay it gently down, and then I'm going to rub really hard. Remember, we've got that lamp. This should be, hopefully it's moving the images under it, and the whole thing didn't just screw up my, I hope that did a good job of stamping it. It's very, very muted, which is what I wanted. And I take these off and hold it up so you can see it. Can you see that? I wanted it to look kind of like a old-fashioned kind of wallpaper. I forgot the word wallpaper. What else is new? Then I'm going to go back to the acrylic block and my sweet corn. And I'm going to wet it a little bit. We're just going to color in some of our background image. That way we'll be able to see it better. Okay, so there is our background. Now I need to put my dog in there. There's my lamp shade. Here's my little dog. I'm going to get him so that he's ready to be stamped. And I like this color. I don't know what we're calling it because none of these have a name on them. Then there's our doggy. I can put a little bit more color on him because I got a little spot there where he doesn't have color. Oops. There's him, and that's that. Now, here's how you punch out your side pieces. I already did one edge of this, and I wanted to show how you do it. If you have a punch like these marks on the edge are what you really care about. And I like to do my first punch so that the very end of my paper goes to the end. And then you're going to move it so that you're lined up with the ones you've already punched. So right on this side. Keep your eye on the right side. And then you move it down, get that out of the way. And I don't need these last couple, so if they're completely, if I mess up the last one, it's not a big deal. Then what I did was I ran glue, and then I'm going to run it right below the edge of my, the bottom of my scallops. I'm running it, hopefully you can see that, right below where the scallops are. Okay, here's how I do it. I cut off, I'm going with my top row of scallops so that your end scallop is perfect. Then I lay it so that my point is at the end like that, but you try to get it as straight as you can. I don't think this stuff is going to stay stuck on here, but we're going to try it anyway. Then I'm going to cut it like this. Okay, and you're going to cut this piece off. Like that. And again, you want this end to be perfect, right here, like that. Now here's when I made my ends, I tried to make it so that this piece became like a curl, like a circle. See that? But you have to cut out, you have to kind of notch out like that. I might have to notch out more of that probably. I'll show it to you again. When you do this, you're going to make it so that that is kind of a perfect circle. Don't know if you can see that or not. Trying to make my circle as perfect as I can and still glue it down. I don't know what I completely forgot to cut this in half, so I'm losing my mind. That's another problem we have. I sometimes just trim it like that, and with the glue, and then we're going to lay that on that edge, hopefully. Gotta do a little bit more trimming on that. Probably saying there's got to be a better way to do this, and there probably is, but this is the way I do it. Right there. Hopefully you can see that. At the top, it's perfect, so I can just trim out that top piece. And then all we need to do is glue it down. So I'm just going to put a lot of glue on the center section because my edges will probably stick up over the edge. So we want to make sure we have it glued where we want it, like that. And then we're just going to lay it onto our base. Then we're going to open up two pieces like that, and I'm going to turn the whole thing over, and I'm pretty sure this will fit in a regular size envelope, like a A2 size envelope made for a 4 1/4 inch by 5 1/2 inch card. So here's our card in the end, and I put in the inside just a small little hello that it was an old stamp, and again, to close them you just kind of have to get those triangles in the right spot and then they close perfectly. And I really thought it came out pretty fun, considering this is kind of one of the things I'm not great at is scene building, and I like my scene. I like the wallpaper. I don't know if you can see the wallpaper really well, but I didn't want the wallpaper to be in the foreground. I really wanted it to be a background element, so I do like it. And then here is one of my chickens, and here's the other chicken. I really hope you'll give this a try. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.